Hey, thanks for checking out the channel. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about something which kind of toes the line of the self-help genre. And I'm not a big fan of the self-help genre myself, but this particular concept I stumbled upon while attending a corporate conference. And about 10 years ago or so, right around, I would say 2016, I was reintroduced to a skills building exercise that was called at the time Vision Clarifiers. A world class, large investment management firm had a group, kind of a specialized group, that would go around the industry and help industry colleagues build out certain skill sets. And they had a couple of different workshops that they would run. But the one particular workshop that they called Vision Clarifiers actually resonated with me quite a bit. And it's had a long lasting impact on my life. So I want to share this concept with you. And I'll put my own little spin on it and relate it to the importance or the impact it could have on us, those of us that are working full time and also have creative outlets that we like to pursue and wish to incorporate effectively into our lives. So, this notion of vision clarifiers was actually presented as a workshop, and there are some takeaways. There's a little card like this that I actually put away in my computer bag and forgot about it for a while, and then I revisited it about a year afterwards. And I want you to think of these because I know vision clarifiers kind of sound very corporate workshoppy, which might be something that could be a turnoff for folks that are kind of the creative mindset. You could think of them as calibration questions or calibration prompts. And they're particularly helpful when life is already in motion and you're busy and your schedule is full. You're juggling a lot of responsibilities. I think of it almost like maybe a pilot, an airline pilot, might use the instruments on their dashboard in their cockpit. When you're moving at a high rate of speed and perhaps maybe there's a little fog or thick cloud cover that you're navigating through, your instruments as a pilot could be really, really helpful. So can these vision clarifiers. They help you gain perspective and make adjustments so you can course correct along the way. They help you manage your most valuable resources, things like time and your energy, in a way that will not only help you do so more efficiently, but also more effectively and lead to an increased chance that you'll get to your life's biggest goals. They help you focus your attention on not only what matters now, but also what's going to matter to you in the long term. So, I'm going to start with the 5 life questions that are part of the core list of vision clarifiers that I was introduced to at this corporate conference. I will provide some additional insight, including one bonus question on this video that I've developed on my own. And I'll also provide a list, an extensive list of additional vision clarifying questions and prompts in the notes for this video. These are big questions. They're guiding questions, they're clarifying questions, values clarifying prompts. They're existential questions in many cases. So it does require a little bit of thinking, but they're also very visually oriented, which I think really plays to the advantage of most creatives, especially those that are visual artists like myself. I'm a painter. So I really appreciate the opportunity to go through these sorts of visualization type prompts. Some might call these compass questions because they're very directionally oriented too, and they could help us, as mentioned before, course correct on the journey of life and make sure that we get to the place, or at least increase the likelihood that we'll get to a place that'll be a little bit more satisfying for ourselves, or perhaps maybe more importantly, help avoid some pretty significant pitfalls. Whatever you call them, they force us to imagine how we would like life to be. And that's a fun exercise. It can also be a gut wrenching exercise for some, especially those that have a hard time, quieting things down, and perhaps maybe those that are in a challenging season of life. You might find it difficult or painful because you may come to the realization that you've gone way off course. And it also can be very troubling for folks that just simply feel lost. Those that perhaps maybe don't know, feel like they don't know what they want out of life. That's okay. If you ask these questions enough and you revisit them from time to time and do the work, they can help you actually identify a little bit more clearly how you would like things to actually be arranged within your life. So let's get into it. The 5 vision clarifying questions that were presented to me that ultimately really changed the course of my life in a lot of ways and in mostly very positive ways. Question 1: what aspects of your life now do you treasure most? So I like this because it forces us to start with gratitude. What are the things in our lives that we treasure most? Question number 2: what skills would you like to learn? This is really important because most of us have had things kind of on the parking lot list of things that we'd like to learn to do, experiences that we would like to have that would bring new skills into our life. And oftentimes we put them off because they feel like they're too difficult, or they're perhaps maybe requiring a long-term commitment, or at one point in time where we've identified it as a valuable skill set, we didn't have the resources to take workshops or lessons or courses. But this is kind of a wish list, it's a vision board. So answer that question: what new skills would you like to learn? This is really helpful because when we start incorporating the learning of new skills into our life, it does a lot of positive things for us. First, it's really hard to imagine a time in life where we're working toward long term goals and acquiring new skills and making progress toward those long term goals when we were unhappy. Even in the most difficult of circumstances, folks that are making progress toward long term goals, even if it's tiny, minute progress, if we're making progress, we're generally going to be much happier. In addition to that, those skills actually make us much more valuable. So if we're happy and more valuable in life, that increases our chances of overall life success. Question number 3: with whom would you like to spend more time with? And where would you like to do so? So those two questions are kind of batched together. And I think it's really important to reflect on this because we have friends, families, colleagues, and acquaintances that we spend our days with, and oftentimes it all comes together on a haphazard basis. So by actually taking the time, prioritize those folks that bring us joy and actually help us in our creative pursuits and support us in those efforts. Those folks that actually bring us peace and a higher quality of living in life. Those folks that are our cheerleaders, that cheer us on and also challenge us. Those are the folks we want to have around. Those are the folks that we're going to enjoy our time with. So it's really important to think about ways that we could prioritize the act of spending time with those folks as much as possible. Question number 4: identify one important life goal that we've yet to fulfill. And this one can be really eye-opening. For me, I think of some of the more fun things that I've yet to do. Like I've always had it as kind of a dream of mine to take batting practice in Yankee Stadium in Fenway Park. I've been a lifelong baseball fan. I played baseball throughout childhood and through college. And I've been a Yankee fan, but I've really appreciated that rivalry since I was 3 years old. I could think back to that rivalry and how it heated up throughout the 1970s. It'd flare up every now and again in the 80s, and it got real big again in the 90s. I would love to take batting practice at Yankee Stadium in Fenway Park. That would just be a dream come true. And I'm still optimistic that it could happen for me. I'm hopeful that it might happen for me at a time where I still could drive the ball into the outfield. Question number 5, and this is the most important question in my mind because it helps us calibrate to a longer term vision for our life, and it helps us crystallize our priorities in a way that none of the other questions can. Here's question number 5. It's 10:30 Wednesday morning. You're 62 years old. What are you doing? And this plays into my bonus question, which I'm gonna add to this list of 5 questions, and it's very similar in the impact that it has. But if you think about this question, you're either at or close to retirement age. You've accomplished most of the things that you probably hope to accomplish from a career standpoint. You might be an empty nester. You might be alone because your spouse still works. Whatever the case may be, maybe you have friends and family members that you're closer to that are still working. It's a weekday morning. What are you doing with your time if you had no constraints on what you were doing? This is a really important question, and it helped me clarify. Actually, all these questions kind of working together helped me clarify my priorities a little bit, and as far as how I spent my personal time and the pursuits that I had in mind, especially around skill building and preparing for days where I had no constraints on my time. And I had nobody to share my time with. I wanted to make sure I got clarity on how I was going to be spending my time. And that's when I decided I was going to spend more time, energy, and effort on developing my skills as a painter because that's how I plan on spending my time when I'm not with family and friends. Okay, here's the 6th and final question that I'll share on the video. This is a bonus question, and it really speaks to visualization. It's more of a prompt. And the prompt is this, and it's a really good thing to do just before bed if you're having difficulty sleeping. It's kind of a fun exercise. Very similar to the 5th question that I just shared with you, and here it is. If you were surprised to find that you had a free day in the middle of the week and everybody you knew was busy, either with schoolwork or they were actually working at their jobs, and you had no constraints on your time right now, what would your ideal day look like? You have all day to plan activities, chores, tasks, things that you can enjoy doing. What would you do? What would be a day well spent under those circumstances? Now, I have a real clear vision in mind that is reoccurring when I ask myself this question at this stage of life. And there have been days where I've come really, really close to living that ideal day. Now, I have a couple of action items that I want to take you through just to make sure that you get the most out of these vision clarifiers. So here they are. Now, as mentioned, I'll share some additional vision clarifying prompts and questions in the notes for this video. But the action items that I want to encourage you to try out in order to support the use of these vision clarifiers is 1, consider the vision clarifiers. Try the first 5. They could have a profound impact on your life if you consider these deeply and take the exercise seriously. Number 2, the second action item is you want to write down your responses to each of the questions and prompts. This could have a huge impact because over the course of the following days and weeks, when you enter your little notes in a notepad or on a legal pad or what have you, or within a notebook or a journal, you'll be able to actually crystallize your responses to these vision clarifying prompts and questions. And the devil is in the details. As you refine your responses, you get greater clarity on how you would like to see the future unfold for yourself and those around you. And then finally, you want to revisit them, perhaps maybe once or twice per year, because life happens, things change. Also, as we gain experiences that are closer to these visions that we outline for ourselves, we might find out that there's certain things we thought that we wanted, we don't necessarily want. So by pairing those sorts of experiences off and adjusting course, we get a little bit closer to our ideal vision for ourselves. You can assess where you are at any given time as you review these vision clarifiers. And if you feel stuck, like I have a lot, there's been times where I've been completely overwhelmed and felt completely detached from where I ultimately wanted to be as a creative that was also working full time. And that can be a really challenging circumstance to be in. But if you establish these vision clarifiers for yourself, and in those moments, whether you're overwhelmed or you're in a good place, if you write down 3 to 5 things that you can do within the next week to help advance toward the vision that you have in mind, it can be really empowering and can help you develop a ton of clarity and motivation and help you make incredibly swift progress toward your vision. You might even arrive there ahead of schedule. Who knows? Oh, and one more thing. If you found this video helpful or insightful, please consider liking this video. You could just hit the like button just below, and that would be a big help to me. Additionally, if you've been following my work here on YouTube, either on this new channel, The Wage Slave Creative, or on my existing channel, which is really just a video journal of my art making progress on Paint and Draw with Tom, consider subscribing. That would go a long way to help me advance the growth of this channel and also expand the reach of my personal artwork that I'm creating, which much of which is actually featured on Paint and Draw with Tom. So thanks for checking out this video. If you have any of your own vision clarifying prompts or questions that you don't mind sharing, I'd love to see them listed in the comments below, which I think could be really helpful to those of us that are working full time and pursuing your own creative endeavors. Thanks again and stay well.